What's going on, Wolfpack Nation? Thank you so much for tuning back in here for another fun episode here. Again, so excited to, I think, have a bucket list guest on. We got Kenzie Blackwelder, recent graduate, Mackenzie Blackwelder. So first of all, congratulations on that. But also, too, again, I mean, I know that we've talked from the beginning. I think actually when Tuffy Talk first started, you were actually one of the people we reached out to, to say, hey, could you help us out? And because you had a decent following. So first of all, thank you for that. We appreciate that.
Very welcome.
And, glad we could finally return the favor and have you on the show. So
right. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Favor is returned. I appreciate
it. Good deal. So Mackenzie, so first of all, I mean, what was your degree in? What'd you graduate with and all that jazz?
I double majored in communications and broadcast journalism. And okay. I am hoping to be a sports broadcaster. Fingers crossed. Okay. We'll see what happens. But yeah.
So did you do anything with like the technician or anything like that? No,
when I first got here, I was the person that ran Barstool Pack on Twitter, but then I stopped doing that. Then I've just been with social media stuff, not really like the technician or Pack TV, just been because of COVID ruined my Pack TV chances. So just been doing social media stuff basically.
Okay. So is there any sports broadcasters you look up to?
Erin Andrews, 100%.
Really?
Yes. Her and Laura Rutledge are my dream. That's my goal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 100%. Okay.
Go ahead.
Go for it. No, I think you and I are saying the same thing, Greg. So go ahead.
No, I was just say before we get too far in this, Mackenzie's a sister from another mister. We were recognized as ESPN Superfans this past football season, so that's kind of how we first got hooked up and met. So we were we were actually two of like probably 25 or so, I would say. And so she just mentioned Lauren Rutledge, and we actually got to have a Zoom call with her. So go ahead and Mackenzie, talk a little bit about that.
First, shout out to Greg for saving my butt on that, because somebody stole my package that college football sent me for my apartment.
Really?
So I didn't get the football, I didn't get the projector, I didn't get anything. So I had no idea that the Zoom call was happening. And Greg, shout out to my new best friend over here, he DM'd me on Twitter and was like, I saw that you're one of the other people that were selected. Did you sign up for the Zoom call with RG3, Tim Tebow, and Laura Rutledge? And I was like,
holy smokes.
What is that?
I was like, what are you talking about? And he was like, I'll send you a screenshot. So he sent it to me, and I was at home. And so it was like the day before, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So I had to go, I had to run and like email all these people, tell them like what happened, why it took me so long to like sign up for it. And I had to make questions up on the spot, but it was really fun.
Yeah.
We also got RG3 to say that NC State had the best fan base in the country.
Yeah.
So,
well, it's true. So.
It is true.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Very much is true.
And we took Tim Tebow's man card.
We definitely did.
Well, and also too, one of the things I still remember to this day is in that documentary from the time that Tim Tebow finished at Florida to the, basically like him getting ready for the draft and going through a draft process, getting drafted by Broncos and all that. There was a documentary about that. And so he actually, I can't remember if it was like he had footage from him, like when he was like being recruited or something like that. But like, I remember him saying that, like, he had a letter apparently from NC State, and he was like, and I remember his dad like telling him, so are you going to let, Coach O'Brien know, whatever it was. I can't remember what it was, but I remember specifically he mentioned Coach O'Brien and NC State, which I thought was funny how I couldn't even like imagine. It's also too like thinking about like, how Shaq, has, Shaquille O'Neal's always said, that, his second choice was coming to NC State, and how even Michael Jordan said that, how close he was coming to NC State. And so it's like thinking about like all these like ridiculous, players that could have ended up at NC State,
Pistol Pete Maravich, same thing.
Yeah, that too. So, kind of adding to it.
I didn't know about Tebow. I knew the Shaq, but wow.
Well, and I'm not necessarily saying like he was close to, but I just remember that in that documentary, it happened to be that he was talking about NC State at the moment.
Right.
So, but yeah, obviously knowing the Tim Tebow story, he was going to Florida. It wasn't even close. So, but anyway, so jumping back into Yeah, fair enough. You won national championship, whatever. So, but speaking of national championships, though, so Mackenzie, so is NC State football winning our own this year?
Yes. I don't even have to think about it. Really don't even have to think about it. I'm also very biased, so I say it every year, but this year I feel like it's going to happen.
That's why you're a super fan. That's why you got the super fan designation.
Right? Like you've got to just accept it. Like no matter what it is, you have to put your money on State. So I think that it's going to be us in Georgia, and we're going to beat Georgia.
Woo.
So it's almost kind of like you're almost kind of like Jimmy V. Every year they practice cutting down the nets, right? So every year you practice, being at the national championship game, ready to cheer on, and
I was ready to buy my national championship ticket for basketball this year. I was like, they're going to win the ACC tournament, get in the or NCAA tournament. Then you just got to have my hopes up all the time. I hurt myself, honestly.
We all do.
Yeah,
we all do.
How it goes.
If again, NC State fan, being an NC State fan grows character. That's one thing that we've always said. It grows character. But hopefully this is one of those years where kind of all of that pays off, and it's really tough too because and I kind of want to get your thoughts on it again. I'm biased here again. We're going to kind of break it down a little bit here. I know that every position is the best, and I get it. But at the end of the day, honestly, though, it's and because we were having a conversation about this in our live stream, I think 2 weeks ago, talking about how when I was interviewed on the Dan Siegel show with AC Content, and he asked, if NC State were to fall, what would be the reason? And I mean, the only reasons I could think of was injuries, and then maybe we can't figure out the running game, because obviously I think that's one of the biggest things this year is we need to get the running game going, have more than just a handful of rushing touchdowns, just that way the defenses can't just focus on passing down the pass offense, and then that's it, the rest is history. And but I mean, other than that, though, I mean, again, linebacking wise, we should be ridiculous. And I mean, obviously you got Devin Leary, who unbiasedly is in my opinion the best quarterback in the country this year. So I mean, what are your kind of thoughts? Like, give us your breakdown. What are the good, what are the bad, what are the things you're looking for?
I was full on like going 12-0 until I saw that our first ACC game is at Clemson. That gave me a little scare, I'm not going to lie, because every time we play Clemson, we get hurt. Somebody gets hurt. And since that's the first ACC game, I was like, okay, like everybody has to stay healthy. Peyton Wilson has to stay healthy this year. I think the defense is going to be great. Offense, I think Jordan Houston is going to absolutely kill it. Fred, at the spring game, Fred Sebro killed it. And then the transfer from Maryland, Daryl Jones, I think, who's replaced her. Yep. Yeah, I think he's going to step up finally. But I'm excited. I can't wait till September 3rd. My mom's an ECU fan, so we're going to be butting heads. Man. Yeah, we're going to be.
So speaking of football, a lot of times, especially, when I was watching games, I'd come, I was at all the home games, and I'd come home and rewatch them, and I'd always see you down in the probably first or second row of the student section. I know you had a bird's eye view of Emeka's catch against Carolina. We'll probably talk about that here in a little bit. But where are you sitting this year? You're no longer a student. So what's your plan?
I'm going to try to find student tickets. I'm going to try to finesse my way back into the front row because I'm not ready to leave it yet. I begged my parents to let me come back and take more courses and let me come back for the fall, but my dad was not a fan of that. So I'm just I'm doing my best to find like people that I know that don't really go to football games. So I'm like, look, don't let your ticket go to waste. Yeah, I'll pay you.
Right. Waste of a ticket.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And you kind of remind me too, and maybe Greg, you can kind of help me remember if this guy's name, but the guy who ran the student section for years, and he always wore like the wolf hat, just like you do, Greg. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And he always painted his face, and he'd always stay on the field and have the microphone, lead in the student section. I swear he was at NC State for probably 10 to 12 years. I feel like
years.
And I remember that he actually, I think it was NASA actually offered to pay for his doctorate to come back to NC State or something like that. So I mean, he was really, really smart, and he was at NC State, just like kind of like what you're wanting to do, Mackenzie. He just like did not want to leave NC State.
And, not ready.
She's ready to be the female version of Van Wilder.
Hey, I mean, well, I definitely think our student section needs one of those leaders again. I don't think because that speaker still is there, and I don't think anybody uses it. And I mean, we definitely need somebody leading the student section down there. So I don't know what you got to do, Mackenzie, but
if anybody wants to hook me up, I'm down, 100%.
Awesome. Yeah. And so talking football a little bit more, so the ECU game. So, because one of the things that we were talking about today on text message was how NC State opened up as a 10.5 point favorite over ECU, which to me is just a heart attack way. Greg. Yep. I'm just, I don't like it. I cringe at it.
It's a big number.
It's a big number. So, but again, at the end of the day, I don't care if we win by 1. I don't care if we just got to win. We got to win that game. I don't care if it's a pretty win. I don't care. At the end of the day, we kind of said that only people in North Carolina really understand how big that game is, because anybody else, it's like NC State, probably top 10, top 15 originally against an unranked, probably middle tier, like probably middle of the road team in their conference. Like, State should crush them. And it's like, no.
But then you can argue that's probably going to be ECU's biggest game of the season.
Exactly.
Well, but God forbid, Doran better not say it's going to be their Super Bowl. God forbid, do not say that. You will piss them off. Before we continue, I want to take a quick second to tell you about our sponsor, Flightland's Jessup Insurance Group, that has your whole world covered, with agents in 5 offices throughout Eastern North Carolina to help you decide how much coverage you need, offering policies for home and auto, recreational vehicles, commercial, crop, health, life, and employee benefits. They are able to combine options to find a comprehensive solution that works for you. Flightland's Jessup protects the things you love so you can spend less time worrying and more time enjoying them. Find them on Facebook and Instagram at Flightland's Jessup. You can also visit their webpage at www.flightlandsjessup.com. So please make sure to go and check them out.
And we didn't do well last time we were there with our squad. So
darn,
I know. I don't hate Coach the 10.5. I'd rather have be 10.5 than like under a touchdown.
Well, sure,
because we should be favored by that much,
I know, but I guess it just is kind of like another reminder of the expectations heading into this year. It's like, oh god, the expectations.
It's true.
So
it's like another being an NC State fan. You're like, that's a little too much. Like, I just want to win. Don't give us too much. Like, we're always scared, and I hate it.
Yeah. Well, and again, it just really comes down to that. And I mean, that I think that all of us are really trying to tell State fans that's like, believe it or not, we should have a really good football team this year. And at the end of the day, if we want to be a team that consistently competes at the top of the ACC, competes in the top 25, top 15, that eventually we have to be the guy that everybody wants to beat. We have to be that guy eventually. And this year probably is going to be that year where ECU really wants to beat us, and the Texas Tech, they really want to beat us, and the Wake Forest is you name it, they all really want to beat us, because then it would be a big win for them, and so it's
changing from being the hunter to the hunted. And I think that's the role that we as State fans need to start embracing. And it's, we're now rolling into year 10 for Coach Doran, and, he's got the program, kind of on autopilot, if you want to say that. I think he's almost ascended to the top. And so this could be the year that this needs to be the year we break through. If we want to continue that momentum.
Yeah. Now, one thing though, Mackenzie, are you a follower of Big Game Boomer at all?
I am.
Yeah. Do you actually like take his stuff to heart at all?
Or are you running that site?
No, I've had so many people.
Are you Big Game Boomer?
I've always had people DM me and ask me that. They're like, Kenzie, there's no way that somebody would put State in the college football playoff other
except for you.
And I'm like, I promise it's not me. But I agree with everything he says. I really do.
Well, but see, the thing though that blows my mind is that like he put us as again a tier 1 for season, but yet he came out with the top 50 head coaches, and he had Doran 2 spots below Shane Beamer from South Carolina. I'm like,
yeah,
really?
I mean,
really? Like,
no, it's this guy. Yeah, he's just like
it's a give and take. It's a give and take.
He's a random Oklahoma fan who just likes making these lists.
Well, and again, he makes these lists within. I mean, again, he makes 1 or 2 a day. So I mean,
I can't keep up with it.
Runs through them.
He makes random stuff too, and I'm like,
yeah, I know. So, just I just wanted to kind of bring that up. I saw that they had Dorn as like 25 and Beamer as 23. I'm like, okay. That's one where I'm like, okay, whatever. So again, it balances out. He really hypes us in some places and he really screws us in some places, and that's okay. So now let's talk a little bit about predictions though. So let's say, what is your floor? Like, what do you think like our worst record could be this year? Like, what games do you think we could we would lose? Like, worst comes worst.
Worst comes to worst, I think we lose. I don't even want to say it. At Clemson. At Clemson.
Yeah.
Hey, they haven't lost in like 35 or 36 home games in a row. Yeah. So
I know.
There's no
I saw
shame.
that. And then I saw that it's supposed to be college game day. So I'm like, oh no, that just adds another to us going in like all cocky and stuff. I mean, the first ACC game, I don't want to say it, but I think that we could lose that game. Definitely not losing at Carolina. Definitely not losing against Wake. I think how State is, there's always that one team that you don't expect us to lose to.
Boston College or Syracuse.
That we lose to. Like last year it was Miami. So I'm like, but I think this group is, after the UCLA game, I was there. It was heartbreaking.
Yeah, we know you've been banned permanently from their Twitter page.
San Diego football blocks me on Twitter.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
Blocked me on Twitter because I went to their hotel after the news came out, and because I had me and my friend Hannah. Shout out to Hannah, my sidekick. She's always at TV with me. We got tickets. We're on our way to the stadium. And then Levi Jones calls me and Hannah, and he's like, the game's canceled. We hung up on him. We were like, that's not even funny. Like, stop joking. Calls us again, and he's like, Kenzie, like, seriously. So we go and look on Twitter, and I'm like, we're going to their hotel. We're going to make a scene. And we had like 20 State fans. We caught, like, as we were walking, more State fans just kept joining. It was like we were just all irritated, mad.
Pitchforks and torches in hand.
Yeah, we all just went and got drunk because they were already gone. So, but yeah. So I think after that happened, I feel like they're even more hungry for a bigger win. I think they're going to get a 10-win season, I believe. At least.
No, it's kind of funny that was a goal last season. Honestly, I don't even know if that's really a goal this year. That's like that's like, well, because I always kind of say, like, for basketball per se, that the NCAA tournament should not be a goal. It should be a byproduct. Like, if you're the ACC champion, you're going to a tournament. So it's like, again, we should focus on winning the ACC championship, and then by winning the ACC championship, we go to the tournament. But even if we fall a little bit short, you're still going to the tournament. So, so same thing with this year. I think that the goal this year, ACC championship, nothing less. That's nothing else. That's it, ACC champion. And by doing that, we go to a BCS bowl game. We have a 10-win season, more likely, unless just some weird voodoo crap goes on. And so, so I got to ask though. So I mean, did you run into any like football players, fans, or anything like that?
We did. When we were on our way, that was when the football team was already gone. They left 4 hours before. But there was one injured player that was packing his stuff up into his mom's car.
Did you beat him up?
Poor guy.
Oh my God.
Me and Hannah, being who we are, we were like, we said a few things. I'm not gonna lie, we definitely said a few things. I asked where the team was. So I was like, there's no way. The tweets were pointed out 10 minutes ago. Where the hell is the tweet?
They're already back in LA.
There's no way y'all already left. And so we were it was a rough day.
I had
no kidding. San Diego were full of State fans.
I had the best time following you in your adventures out there, and it just made me laugh because that was right after I had broke my leg, and so I had plenty of time just to shuffle through on Twitter. And Mackenzie, Mackenzie's just losing her mind out there.
I was so mad. We spent so much money, and then I had to fly back hungover. Do not fly on a plane hungover.
Been there, done that.
It was a rough experience.
Not good.
Yeah.
Well, and that's why I said, like, you know, as much as my heart 100% went out to the players, that the fans that flew all the way out there spent all that money, because that was one of the things, again, like that, even like Corey Smith from Pack Pride and all these guys from the media were saying, like, man, I don't know if like it's expensive, like out there.
Expensive plane
there
ticket.
were more State fans out there than there were UCLA fans. Me and Hannah went to like the little like fan fest the night before for like the band parade. All you could see was red, and I was like, we're across the freaking country, and these people are 2 hours away. Like, this is insane. But I felt bad. It hurt me because we were at the hotel when the players got out of the conference, and like just seeing all of them come out, it was. I cried. I'm not gonna lie. It could have been the alcohol, but I definitely cried because I was like, these guys. I was heartbroken.
It's real.
It's tough.
Absolutely.
If nothing else, State fans are passionate, and I think that's what makes us unique. So,
amen.
So I got a question for you, Mackenzie.
Go ahead.
So have you been a lifelong State fan, or like at some point did you just kind of pick it up? Like, what was that like growing up?
Well, neither one of my parents went to State.
Okay.
My dad went to UNC Asheville. My mom went to ECU. But my whole mom's side of the family are State fans, but 2 Carolina fans. So it's like my Nana. I got it from my Nana though. So I grew up as like the little cheerleader wearing, jersey wearing person in the stands. But my family said that I took it to another level. So like they're all State fans, but I was like, fan? I'm going to be crazy with a fan. Like they're going to know who I am before I leave. And so this is the only school I applied to. My parents were not happy.
You really shot your shot on that one.
Yeah,
I really shot my shot. I was like, this is the only place I want to go. So I was like, I don't even feel like the need to apply anywhere else. But always been a State fan. Like it's borderline obsession is what it is. And I get that.
Really? Look at Greg's background.
I gotta sell me.
I'm so glad that I have people that can relate. I used to get picked on all the time in high school because I was surrounded by Carolina or Duke fans all the time.
We made a YouTube channel and podcast based off NC State, Mackenzie. Right? So trust me, we feel you.
I'm in the right group.
Yeah.
Amen.
Perfect.
Amen.
Yeah.
No. And so speaking of too, so kind of meshing kind of the fanhoods with the football. So I see behind you got Nyheim Hines so I mean, is that your favorite football player of all time, Hines? Or?
I think I have to say yes, because Nyheim is one of my really good friends. Love him. Cool. He was one of the first people I met when I got to State. So I always followed him. Like Wolfpack Outfitters weren't even selling jerseys, so I got this one customized. Yeah. It looks sketchy. Like you can tell
bootleg, but we appreciate it.
You can tell that I got it off Google. But he's probably one of my favorite State players, 100%.
Okay.
Nana Mecca, definitely.
Okay.
Well, I mean, if I start listing my favorite State players.
Okay. All right.
Leighton, this is only a 30-minute podcast.
Yeah.
Right. All right. Cool. All right. Well, then with that being said, we will take a pause right there. Reluctantly, we will pick this up here in part 2, because I know that just like Greg mentioned here earlier, that Mackenzie had the perfect eye on Mecca's catch. And so we will pick that up right at the beginning of part 2. So make sure Wolfpack Nation is tuned back in for part 2. Don't miss out on that whatsoever. Also, too, make sure if you haven't already, make sure again, consider hitting that subscribe button, which is free to do. And make sure you don't miss out whenever we release new NC State content. And it helps really support the channel as well. And also to give this video a like, so that way YouTube will put this video in front of more NC State fans. And also to give us a follow at Tuffy Talk Now on Twitter or Instagram. And also to, I mean, I know you're following Mackenzie on Twitter, so I'm not even going to, make sure to do that. I know you're doing it already. So, but if you have, right, exactly. So make sure to go do that though if you haven't already. But thank you all so much for tuning in for part 1. We'll see you for part 2. As always, go Pack, y'all.